Chapter 17, Rizal in Brussels, 1890. January 28, 1890. Rizal left Paris for Brussels, capital of Belgium, for two reasons. 1. The cost of living in Paris was very high because of the international exposition. 2. The gay social life of the city hampered his literary works, especially the writing of his second novel El Filibusterismo. Life in Brussels. Rizal was busy writing his second novel, which was a continuation of Nolly. He was never even for an hour. Aside from writing each chapter, he wrote articles for La Solidaridad and letters to his family and friends. For recreation, he had gymnastics at the gymnasium, a target practice, and fencing at the Harmony.
Rizal articles in La Solidaridad. He used two pen names, Di Masalang and Laon. Rizal articles in La Solidaridad, La Verdad para Todos, The Truth of All, Verdades Nuevas, New Truth, Una Propanation, Diferencias, Differences, Pilipinas Detro, Decline Años, The Philippines a Century Hence, Ingratitudes, Sin Nobre, Without Name, Sobre la Nueva Ortografía de la Lengua Tagala, On the New Orthography of the Tagalog Language, Cosas de Pilipinas, Things about the Philippines, Sobre la Indolencia de los Filipinos, On the Indolence of the Filipinos. September of 1886. Adopted the Filipinized Tagalog orthography in his 1. Schiller's Wilhelm Tell, 2. Andersen's Fairy Tales, 3. Noli Me Tangere. Rizal criticized Madrid Filipino for gambling in Brussels. Rizal received news from Juan Luna and Valentin Ventura that the Filipino in Spain were destroying the good name of their nation by gambling too much. These two compatriots in Paris urged him to do something about it. Accordingly, Rizal wrote to M.H. Del Pilar on May 28, 1890, to remind the Filipinos in Madrid that they not come to Europe for gamble but to work of their Filipino land's freedom. The gambling Filipinos in Madrid were angry when they learned of Rizal moralizing. Thereafter they called Rizal Papa instead of Pepe. Bad news from home letters. The Calamba agrarian trouble was getting worse. Tenants, including the Rizal family, were persecuted and ejected from their lands. The sad news from home depressed Rizal. His heart bled to know the sorrowful plight of his parents, brother, and brothers-in-law. Presentation of death. In his moment of despair, Rizal had bad dreams during the night in Brussels, when he was restless because he was always thinking of his unhappy family in Calamba. Although he was not superstitious, he feared that he would not live long. He was not afraid to die, but he wanted to finish his second novel before he went to his grave. Preparation to go home. Rizal decided to go home, for he could not stay in Brussels writing a book, while his parents, relatives, and friends in distant Philippines were in despair. Opposed with Graciano Lopez Llena's plan in going to Cuba, he said that Graciano should not go to Cuba to die of yellow fever. Instead, the to go the Philippines to allow himself to be killed in defense of his ideals.
On to Madrid instead of home. A letter from Pasiano changed his mind. It was a letter which related that the lost the case against the Dominicans in Manila, but they appealed into the Supreme Court in Spain. Rizal wrote to Marcelo H. del Pilar on June 20, 1890, retaining the later services as lawyer. He was going to Madrid in order to supervise the, the handling of the case. Romance with Susan Hobby. Two things brought some measures of cheer to the despondent Rizal as he was preparing for his trip to Madrid. The Summertime Festival of Belgium. His romance with Susan, she cried, when he left toward the end of July 1890 for Madrid, stopping for a few days in Paris. To my muse 1890. It was against a background of mental anguish in Brussels during those sad days when he was worried by family disasters that he wrote his pathetic poem.